Hello, everybody, and once again, welcome to Sinhanomics. I'm Pankaj Sinha, and it's a beautiful Sunday evening in Melbourne. The temperature at cool 8 degrees Celsius. Since it's a weekend today, I just wanted to introduce a little bit of a different topic. As I mentioned, we'll talk about 5 M's: money, meditation, motivation, music, and malt. So today I'm going to touch base on meditation and how it's related to money. Many of you might find it very interesting, and some of you who have already been into that, I think will also find a few things new. So first of all, let's talk about meditation. Hey, what's meditation all about? So it's actually part of yoga, and yoga was written something like 2 BC. Yes, you've heard it right. It's 2 BC, written by Patanjali in Yoga Sutra, and meditation is part of yoga, which is also called pranayama. It has a wide range of activities and processes, but for those who are new to that, I'll simplify that by saying that it's a creative visualization. Though it's more than that, meditation has a lot of mantra meditation, it has breathing meditation, it has creative visualization, but for simplicity's sake, let's talk about creative visualization. So whatever you want to achieve, you actually visualize it in a creative way, and you visualize each and every step of that in minute details. And basically, according to the psychologists, the subconscious brain is not able to distinguish between the real event and a visualized event. So if you're visualizing something, subconscious brain thinks that it's really happening. So, in fact, a lot of books have been written, but I will actually suggest one very good book. It's called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gaon. She's an American writer. She went to India, spent 4-5 years with a guru, and when she went back to New York, she wrote this book which became bestseller. She called it Creative Visualization because she didn't want to confuse a lot of people in the West with the term meditation or even pranayama, right? And it's a beautiful book actually. It talks about the whole process. So have a look at that. Coming back to meditation, basically we need to creatively visualize. If somebody wants to gain more money, they need to visualize that they have the money. If somebody wants to get a great job, he or she has to visualize that, yep, the job is already there. And somebody is sick, for an example, they want to recover, they need to visualize that they are perfectly fine. And that's what it is in simple terms. Now, when it comes to money, one thing is very important to understand, that whatever we chase, we never get it. I'll repeat that. We want to get something and we are chasing that at any cost, then the chances are that we won't get it. So what you need to do, you need to attract it. And that's where the law of attraction comes in as well. I'll touch base on that a little bit later, but let's talk about money again. What money means to you? For an example, if I give a $10 note to you, what does it mean? If I increase that by $100, how does that change your thinking or your relationship with money? So what exactly money means to you? That's a question. Irrespective of the amount, whether it's $10, $100, $100,000, $1 million, doesn't matter. But what does money mean to you? I'll be very interested to read that. Please write it in your comment section. And that's how we need to actually go ahead. We need to improve our relationship with money. That's another important thing to understand, that what is your relationship with money? All these are sounding very unusual, right? But trust me, it has a lot of significance. In fact, there's a Japanese writer, Ken Honda. He's written a book, Happy Money. In that, he actually talks about happy and unhappy money, crying money. So when you give somebody some money and you feel happy about it, it's happy money. For an example, you gift some money to somebody on any occasion, you feel very happy about that. You go and do some charity, you feel happy about that. That's happy money. When happy money goes out, it actually brings back more money. It opens up the flow for money. Whereas the crying money, if you have given it to somebody and you're not feeling good about it, or somebody has given you the money, but you didn't have a good feeling. You had to grab it, you have to bargain it, you have to actually negotiate it very hard for that. That's not a good money. So Ken Honda talks about happy money, and he says that in your wallet, you should always have some happy money, because happy money will actually bring the flow of money. Again, a lot of other things have been written about psychology of trading, psychology of money, and a lot of books are there. So I would go and refer to them. But at the same time, as I was mentioning, you need to attract money, not to chase money. But how to attract money? In order to attract money, basically, you need to understand that. And before I go to that a little bit more in details, let me tell you one interesting story about Hindu cosmology and Hindu mythology. Goddess Lakshmi is the goddess for wealth, prosperity, and money. And one more god, God Indra, who is the god for rain, actually says that was after her. And he has been written a lot of shlokas about her as well. And one of the very famous one is called Lakshmi Ashtakam. Namastestu Mahamaya Sri Pithe Surpujate Sankh Chakra Gadahaste Mahalakshmi Namostute is the first stanza. It's very popular and it's written by Indra. But guess what? Lakshmi did not go to Indra. She went to Lord Vishnu, who was sitting in Kshir Sagar, the ocean of milk, and attracting her. So that's what we need to do. We need to attract money. We don't need to chase money. And when I say chase money, I'm talking about to get money at any cost. For an example, if somebody tells you that, hey, Apple is a great company, let's go and buy it, without knowing the details about the company Apple, you just go and buy that. This is called chasing. And this can be any example. Apple is a big, well-known company, so it may not be a great example. But many of us do that. Our friends tell us, hey, this is a great buy, this body is doubled, and we all go and buy that. It's not the right way to invest. You're not attracting, you're chasing money here. And many a times, you end up losing it. So instead of doing that, if you're going to invest something in the stock market, you should first understand the company. What's the market cap of that company? For an example, if the market cap, say Apple example, is $2.8 trillion. And I'd like to remind you that that's a big amount. The gross domestic product of India is around $3.5 trillion, very close to $3 trillion Apple has. And India is the 5th largest economy in the world. So you can imagine the market cap of Apple is higher than all the countries in the world except the top 5. So their GDP, all the GDP of those countries are lower than the market cap of Apple. So anyway, coming back to the point, if you are going to buy Apple, you should know what's the market cap of that. Are you really going to invest in it? So if it's a $3 trillion company, and suppose you have $12 trillion in your family wealth, are you going to put 25% of that in Apple? If the answer is yes, you should go and invest it. At the same time, you should know that what are the products, what's the future of those products, how those products are going to be impacted with the macroeconomics, which segment they operate in, etc., and how the management is. So all these things actually, if you're looking at it, you're understanding, and then you're investing, that's pretty much like attracting. It's a kind of investment. It's like a house, you buy a $2 million house in one day, and the next day you call your real estate friend and say, hey, what's the price of this? Again, the following day you call him and say, hey, what's the price of my house? I just bought 2 days back. He will think you're crazy, right? But in the stock market, that's what we do. We buy a stock and every day we say, hey, what's the price right now? And that's what we need to change. And that's what's all about psychology. To change the psychology, the mental model, the way we think about money, we think about investment, think about shares. I like to quote an example of Warren Buffett actually, which I always do that. So he's one man who has made a lot of money in stock market. At the same time, he's a big philanthropist, right? So rightly he's called Sage of Omaha. And the sage, I also call him a guru. He's a teacher. Because he's one person who has never kept any secret sauce. He talks about his processes, he talks about his thinking process, the way he has made money, etc. So it's completely transparent. He has shared everything, all his secret of investing. But guess what? Has anybody able to replicate him? The answer is no. Why? Because nobody can replicate Warren Buffett's brain, his psychology, the way he thinks, the way he treats money, the way he has developed relationship with the stocks, with the money, with the market. And that's where we need to understand and move on. Again, there are plenty of books on that. Psychology of Money is a bestseller right now. And there's another one, Psychology of Trading. So all these books are there. I would recommend you to have a look at it. It's pretty cool. Coming back to the stock market and how to develop a cool relationship with money, I would say, of course, knowledge. Knowledge is the king. We need to understand what we are investing in, number one. Again, for the buddy investors who are new to the market, and some of us who have been in the market, but maybe we are not very happy with our returns. The best advice I can give, which I have learned hard way, is that we definitely need to understand the philosophy of investing, what we are investing in, till what period, when I'm going to pull the money out, etc. For an example, Netflix and other companies are pretty much talk of the town nowadays, right? It's all the Apple, Google, Amazon, Netflix, Meta, Tesla, as well as the latest kid on the block, which has stormed the market, is Nvidia. So if you talk about Nvidia stock is around now at almost $400, right? With revenue of around $35 to $40 billion. The stock at 400 is pretty much price to sales ratio of 10. If you look at the price earning ratio, for an example, is pretty much 80. So from any angle, it's pretty much overpriced. But hey, we need to also look at that, what area they are operating in. What's the future of that? They're operating in GPUs, graphic processing unit. And recently, Mr. Huang, who is the CEO of Nvidia, he just mentioned that the big growth area they are seeing is the data center. So right now, data centers have 95% CPU and 5% GPU. By the way, CPU is the central processing unit. Intel leads it. And GPU, of course, started by Nvidia. Nvidia is the market leader, graphic processing unit. And just to give you perspective, the chat that we are talking about nowadays pretty much in that sequence. So coming back to the point here again, so Mr. Huang actually said that right now 95% is CPU and 5% GPU in the data center space. And going forward, he sees that will transform into 95% GPU and 5% CPU. So look at the opportunity out there. At the same time, many of those, like including McKinsey, many of those analysts have forecasted that what will be the total spend of GPUs, basically all these chips. And that's pretty much coming as around $200 trillion. Some have forecasted $118, $120, $150 trillion by 2026, by 2030. So there is a huge opportunity out there. ChatGPT is taking everybody on storm. But guess what? The chip they are using is from Nvidia. And most of these guys, the hyperscalers like Microsoft, Google, and AWS, basically all of them are going to use all these chips. Some of them are in fact planning to create their own. So anyway, coming back to the point here again, that we need to think that, do we have a future? What's the future of that? If somebody is paying right now price of 80 PE, is it worth? And guess The way to analyze is that the current valuation of this stock is basically the discounted cash flow of future earnings. So what I'm trying to say is that before we get into anything, before we step into anything, we need to understand what we are getting into. And that's very basic, right? And that's what I call it attracting money. You are getting in the right path, but you're at the same time understanding how you're proceeding. Coming back to the relationship between the money and meditation or the psychology, it's very important. At the end of the day, we need to have a very cool mindset when you are dealing with a very volatile market, which is stock markets are always volatile. Currency market, stock market, all of these are pretty much volatile markets. So if you're dealing with a volatile market, you need to be very cool. Warren Buffett says that, you should not lose your cool even if your stocks drop by 60-70%. Easier said than done, but at the end of the day, we need to develop those kind of relationship because we need to look at the larger picture and not the day-to-day price movement of the stocks. So guys, in order to develop that relationship, the first thing we need to do is basically start respecting, loving, and valuing money. It's pretty much the same thing. If somebody comes to your house and you don't treat them well, he or she will never come back again. Similarly, money comes to you, you never treat them well. You spend them ruthlessly, you may not get that money again back. I'm not telling you to become miser, but I'm telling you to spend in a meaningful way. Correct? So once we develop that kind of relationship with money, and I'll remind you again, I'm looking forward to getting your comments in the comments section to what money means to you. Once you develop those kind of relationship, then basically you start attracting money. Money becomes just a means of transaction to you, whether it's $100, $1,000, $100,000, million or $1 billion, doesn't matter. So think about what will be your state of mind. What will you do if you have $1 billion, $1 million? These talks are looking quite hollow. You may think, hey, this guy is talking nonsense. Well, I'll never get $1 billion. But hey, it's not about getting it. It's about priming your mind, your subconscious brain, to handle those kind of money. A lot of people who get a lot of money get crazy, right? US did a study and they say all the guys who actually had won millions of dollars in Tats Lotto, which is the lottery system in US and Australia, or in the lottery, etc., where are they now? And they found that majority of them, almost 95+%, became bankrupt because they did not know how to handle money. They did not know how to respect money, how to value money. The relationship with the money was not good. They never thought about making money happy, according to Ken Honda. The psychology of trading or the psychology of money was not in the right direction. So we need to actually think through that and proceed that way. Again, coming back to the stock market, for the buddy investors, I would say think about that, learn it, gain the knowledge, develop a perspective, and get into that. Just like we treat our friends, treat money. And I like to just highlight it. You go around and see some of the poor people around you and talk to them about wealthy people. And I'm sure 100% of them will say, oh, they will hate them. They'll say these wealthy people are having a lot of goofy stuffs, they're involved in illegal activities, they're not good, blah, blah, blah. Money doesn't grow on trees. All this kind of thing comes up. So what's happening? Their idea of money is different. If you are not feeling good about somebody, that person will not come to you. Right? So start loving money, and at the same time start loving rich people, because those are the blessed people. Those are the blessed sons of Goddess Lakshmi. And you want to be one of them. So you cannot hate them, right? You need to love them. Try to find out how they made money. What was the secret sauce? Look at their temperament. Look at the way they think. Look at the way they see things. Look at the way they treat people, and learn from that. So let's develop a good relationship with money, focus on our psychology, and in order to do that, let's do meditation, creative visualization that money is coming to you. You have money. And then see what you're going to do about it. With that, I'd like to close the topic today. I just introduced you meditation and meditative relationship with money, and we'll further elaborate on that in the subsequent episodes. With that, I'll close our discussion today. Thank you very much for your support. I'll once again request you to like it, share it, subscribe it, and hey, don't forget to put the bell icon. With that, have a great day. Thank you everybody once again for being with me. Bye-bye.